What is up, all? Welcome in to Pac-12, preview-ish. But, sorry, little technical difficulties with the chair. Yes, welcome into Pac-12 preview. It was a late night in Tempe last night as the fifth-ranked Bruins came into Tempe 7-0 in conference play, 16-2 overall, to take on the 15-3 and 6-1 Sun Devils. And man, if you didn't get to check the game out, it was a heavyweight fight. We shall get to that later. But I am, yes, Michael Caratanudo at Diablos00 on Twitter is where you can hit me up. And yeah, it was, like I said, an interesting night. We're here on Sideline Sports Pac-12 preview. And it's again one of those things. It was a hell of a game. I mean, it was literally a heavyweight fight, and I said it last night for those that again follow me on Twitter. Non-shameless plug there at Diablos00. And yeah, I was like a 8:45 tip off on Fox Sports 1. So needless to say, if there were people up on the East Coast that are alums of either one of these schools, or you can say UCLA is a blue blood. That being said, you probably did not watch the full game as, I mean, it was after 11? Yeah, it was 11:30-ish, I think, when that game ended. So, yeah, but nonetheless, it was awesome. I mean, performances, again, it literally was like, you can say, old cliche, a heavyweight fight, two heavyweights in the middle of the ring, just trading haymakers. And UCLA pulled away in the end. Like I said, I'll get to it, but UCLA pulled away in the end, and it was man, the next matchup in LA is a few weeks away, but looking forward to it. Some business to take care of for both teams before that. And UCLA will take on Arizona on Saturday. So that will be a huge matchup. And then USC comes up to Tempe to take on the Sun Devils. So yeah, that was my evening last night. So to say the least, it was a great night. But so today on the show, we're going to talk to, you're going to see the interviews I had with, and continuing the Arizona State coaches, with Charlie Ragle, who's the assistant head coach and special teams coordinator. He a longtime coach, high school here. Was at Chaparral, won quite a few state championships, then got into college, went down to Tucson, and was in recruiting first, but then was a tight ends coach at U of A, then went to Cal with Justin Wilcox, got him to come over to Cal, be the special teams coach there. And then he was the head man at Idaho State, and Kenny Dillingham got him to come back down to Tempe and be the assistant head coach, special teams coordinator for the Sun Devils. So we'll hear from Charlie Ragle, again, a man. You heard the passion from Coach Dillingham when you saw that again last week, if you missed it the first time. The passion from Coach Ragle, again, it's one of those guys where when he talks to you, again, it's not all just energy and rah, rah, rah in your face. It's one of those things where it's one of those things where just in him talking to you, the way he does it, it's just that the energy's there. You can tell the passion and energy have always been there for Coach Ragle. So it's one of those things where when I look at it, it's a no-brainer. And Kenny Dillingham actually coached with him when Coach Dillingham getting into his coaching at Chaparral, and he was coordinating the offense. One of the first times I talked to Coach Dillingham, the very first time I ever talked to him, I met him, was when he was working for Coach Ragle at Chaparral. So we will have that. We will also hear Sean Aguano, who took over as interim head coach last season. And he took over as interim head coach last season when Herm Edwards was let go. And I was just like, man. And I was pounding the drum. I mean, you saw the energy he brought every day. Yes, it did not lead to a ton of wins. The Stanford loss, very tough. You only give up 5 field goals and you lose the game. So, yes. But the energy at practice, what the players were saying, what they were constantly kept working. Even in the tough Territorial Cup loss to Arizona, granted they had won 5 in a row before that, but so yes, I did pound the table for him, knowing that with the extent of coaches, and there would have had been other coaching changes, yes, as we've seen, but Kenny Dillingham retained him, and rightfully so, because why would anybody want to be an interim if you know at the end of it you're just going to be done too? And the energy, everything he put in, his history, obviously, yes, he won multiple state championships at Chandler High School there for quite a few years. Then came over to ASU. I think this upcoming season will be his 6th, but he's the running backs coach. And we've seen the running backs that in recruiting that he's been able to bring in, that he inherited and worked with. I mean, starting with Eno Benjamin and how he worked with him. And then you get a Rashad White. Then last year, ex-Valade came over, but even in him talking to Daniel Ngata talking about what, in the beginning, first part of the season, working, through obviously fall camp, spring, fall camp, working with Coach Aguano and what he's done and the running backs done. So Coach Dillingham retained him, and it was in his opening presser. It was funny as he goes, saying to reporter, he goes, "Are you going to ask me if I'm going to retain Coach Aguano? You're going to ask me about Coach Aguano?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm retaining Coach Aguano." So that was great to see. And Coach Dillingham's known him for years. So we'll hear from him as well, too. Again, I'm stoked for Coach Aguano. Again, on a personal level, having known him for years, you got to be able to do the job. Yes, especially the higher level. Every level you want to win. Everybody knows that. Yes, I know I'm not splitting I'm not splitting the atom on that one for anybody. Everybody wants to win. But for Coach Aguano, again, what he brought, the passion every week. And yes, on top of, losing some tough games, having some guys injured, but the way guys kept going for him, a guy like Kyle Soley, who gave, at ASU and one of the captains of the team, but just kept grinding and was always, looking forward, just had that, mentality. And even Nesta, Jay Silvera was saying about Coach Aguano and, coming over to all the groups and checking in with everybody and just what, the Sunday family get-togethers, which weren't even about football. So it's important to have that in the program, to say the least. So, Coach Ragle, Coach Aguano, they know each other. They even brought Coach Mons on from Saguaro, and looking forward to in the spring ball gets closer, having Coach Mons on, and again, having the other coaches on, obviously pending their schedules. But yeah, so it's again, Coach Dillingham built a staff, and yes, and an early signing day they did. And I said it, and you'll hear me say it again to Coach Ragle and Coach Aguano. They didn't hit the ground running. They hit the ground sprinting like an Olympic champ in recruiting. So, yeah, absolutely huge there. And we'll hear from them. So we're going to step aside real quick. And then when we get back, Coach Ragle will be up first. And we'll hear from ASU assistant head coach, special teams coordinator, and yes, long time, I will say, definitely friend of mine is, again, covering high schools here in Arizona. That's how I got to know him. And just, like I said, very, very, very fired up and excited for him, his family, obviously being back here. And yeah, we'll hear from Coach Ragle first after this break. And yeah, don't go too far. Charlie Ragle coming up here on Pac-12 Preview. And yes, here on the Sideline Sports Network. Hit me up on Twitter at Diablos00. But we'll be right back.
Nice.
All right, so obviously I know it's been a whirlwind since you got here, and I know the old cliche, you got to hit the ground. You know, they hit the ground running. I mean, recruiting wise, you guys literally hit the ground sprinting.
Yeah.
Your overall thoughts just from yesterday, how it went. Obviously, I know I'm excited who you brought in, but just getting it done in that short a time.
Yeah, I don't think you have a choice anymore. You know, I think that's one thing that's kind of been the common theme that I've talked with everybody about today is like, you know, college football has changed, right? And it's either adapt or die.
Right.
And the portal adds just another element to this thing. Like, right. I mean, first and foremost, you come in, right? Nobody likes change, no matter what. Nobody wants change. They want to be comfortable in what they do and stay in their bubble. And when change happens, everybody becomes uncomfortable. And, you know, so I think as the coaching change happened, the players on this roster are like, oh, what's going on? You know, I didn't sign up for this, da, 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 da. So you got to come in here and recruit your roster first.
Right.
Assess what you've got, recruit the players that are on this team to stay. Excuse me. And then you got to go out and recruit players like normal.
Right.
It's double duty with the same amount of time. You got to do twice as much work in the same amount of time. And so it's obviously challenging, but I think that we've done a really nice job in the results that we have put out there, you know, and yesterday, obviously, but nonetheless, it was a lot of work.
Yeah. When you look at, and to look at that side too, obviously, but now that you've been here a teeny bit, but getting to talk to the players, like you said, coming in and recruiting them, obviously a new coaching staff isn't coming in because of winning. Coach Aguano obviously retained, he takes over interim because of what's going on, but the players that you've talked to that are stayed here, how do you guys as a staff re-energize them? But what do you feel that their energy has been with you guys?
Well, again, it's early, but I think at the end of the day, you're selling yourself. It's people. You know what? Hey, man, like I'm in this business because of what college football, what the game of football has done for me. And I'm just a good dude that likes to play, like to coach football. And I know it helped me become a better man. And, you know, when I went through some tough times in my life, you know, and I lost my father at just as I was getting into adulthood, you know, that struck me hard. And you know what? It was obviously I was raised by two good parents, but it was also the lessons of the game of football that helped me navigate to where I am today. And, you know, you got to go pay it back, you know, And I think when you get into people and you dig into their souls, man, and they like, this guy's real. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's going to help me, because that's all it really is about. Is everybody runs power. Schemes are schemes. 3-4 down. Odd stack, cover 4. But it's the differences in the players and how you coach them and building into them. And I think, that's what we came in here and we tried to do. And, some guys, no matter how much you pour into them, hey man, I can't be this. I can't handle this change. I got to go do something else. And, that might be the best thing for him. And, I think Justin Wilcox, when I left to Idaho State, I asked him if you could give me one piece of advice that when you took over at Cal, what would it be? And he said, the guys that don't want to be there, don't beg them to stay. And, I thought that was pretty profound. Like, you want guys that want to be, as Coach Dillingham says, all in.
Right.
And, as my good friend Tony Tabor says, you can't be a little bit pregnant. You either are or you're not, right? Very simple.
Man, you say that all the time.
Yeah, very simple. And so it's, hey, man, all in. And you gotta have guys that are all in.
To that point too, because and even Coach Bonds was saying a lot of times, obviously a new head coach comes in, wants to, you're gonna clear everything out, but to retain Coach Aguano, obviously he takes over as interim. Like I said, you're not winning when an interim coach takes over.
Mm-hmm.
But the energy that he kept with the team last year to keep it up, yes, didn't result in a lot of wins, but to have him back on staff, what did that mean to you guys?
Well, I think first and foremost, people are like judging Sean on every game that he coached, whether he wins. I mean, the talent, you lost Eastern Michigan. He's not a magician, right. But what he did is provide structure and organization to the program. Sean Aguano is a really, really good football coach. He's a better human being. You know what I mean? And that's why he's on this staff, and he's going to help us, grow this program. And so just having him back, I think we're better as a program, having him a part of this thing.
And then obviously you've been a head coach, but head coach a lot of times is more delegating. Yes, your thumbprints on a lot of things, but it's delegating. But to come back now in this aspect, and yes, being assistant head coach, coordinating the special teams, what are some of the things you've taken? I mean, I know you mentioned Coach Wilcox, but from other coaches that have worked and that have brought you to this point?
I think, Dirk Cutter said something to me a long time ago. I'm a better assistant coach now that I've been a head coach. And I didn't understand that at the time because I'd never been a head coach, right. And been a head coach, high school, college now. Like, that when you're in that captain's chair, a lot of the things that are going on are non-football related, as you just mentioned. And so that means that I've got to do more on my end as an assistant to alleviate any kind of crap that would be on your desk from my players. You know what? So the little things, organization, the discipline, all that stuff, I got to handle my guys. And the last thing I want is to have to put another task on Coach Dillingham's desk, because I know he's got enough stuff to do. And I think when you understand that and you appreciate that, you become a really, really good assistant coach.
And then I mentioned special teams because it is the X factor. People only want to talk about it when something really bad goes wrong, or when guys are setting records. Like Devin has to return kicks for touchdowns. What's the energy to coach that and to play that? Because it is a different, of all the positions on the field, that group, it is a different mindset.
100%. I think first and foremost, you have to sell the young men on the team to play special teams. Nobody shows up to ASU saying, I'm going to be the right guard on the punt team. You know what I mean? So there has to be an art to that, and that's where, I talk about the energy, bringing the juice, the being genuine with the players. And now I have a track record of showing these guys, I can give you Ashton Davis, who nobody wanted to coach at Cal. Didn't think he could play DB. He was coming off his freshman year. He wasn't a very good corner, and nobody really thought anything of him. I see this guy, I say, man, this dude's a tremendous athlete. This guy can kill it on special teams. Starts on the core for me for that year in 2018 or 17, excuse me. By 2018, he's one of the top kick returners in the country. You know, a couple of years later, he's getting drafted in the 3rd round by the Jets. And there's like Jalen Hawkins. I can go down the list. You know, Will Parks at Arizona. I mean, like, there's a bunch of them. You know, and so you know, I tell the kids, man, you like money? Who likes money? Well, you want to make your money, man. You know, what is it like? 80% of NFL money is spent on 20% of the players on the roster.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're going to stick and stay in the NFL, you got to be able to play special teams. Yeah. Well, I can help you do that, and I can help you do it at a high level. And again, you know, there's a guy, you know, Sean Slocum was here for a long time. A hell of a coach, in my opinion. You know, I got tremendous respect for him. He has NFL experience. We're going to just try and continue to keep that bar high and raise it.
Cool.
Well,
Thank
brother.
you, sir.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, great seeing you. Have a good Christmas.
You too.
Well, that was Charlie Ragle again, right before the holidays. And again, shout out to Jeremy Hawks and obviously getting that together. Kenny Dillingham for wanting to do that with his staff. And he was at the basketball game last night. Again, there were some recruits there. Oh, he's great. Yeah, you want to bring him out to a football game, but getting him out to the atmosphere in Tempe, Coach Dillingham, and I mean, Coach Ragle will be there. And but man, yeah, spring ball is going to be a little bit later than it has been the last few years. Coach Edwards and his staff usually did it a little bit earlier because it helped in, again, starting to recruit for, you know, the next season. So now it'd be for like the 2024 class, 2025 class, when a lot of schools were doing spring ball. When a little bit later, it's a little bit tougher to do. But with him coming in and getting schedules and, you know, working out, yes, obviously knowing the offense they want to do, but getting, you know, players in. And yes, with the next recruiting signing day coming up here in a few weeks in February, that's going to be huge. So but Coach Ragle, again, you hear right there. I mean, it's a calmness, but at the same time, the energy. And when he's on the field again, and yeah, it's not that he can't, you know, if he has to, you know, yell over at a player, but it's just, it's that coaching. It's the energy of it. It's not it's not just, like I said, because a lot of guys, you know, and some don't, you know, a lot of players, and I'm not even saying this day and age, don't sit here and hit me up on Twitter and say I'm calling this generation soft, because every generation says the generation behind them is a little bit softer and a little bit more coddled. Okay. So maybe not every single person, but a lot do. So, and I'm not saying that. It's just some don't respond to it. But yeah, the passion, the doing it right, and the wanting to, like I said, to play special teams. Yeah, the right guard on the punt team is great. Obviously, a great analogy by him, because yeah, how many come in and say, "Oh yeah, I want to be that right guard on the punt team?" But yeah, you have guys obviously that are fast, that are, you know, kick returners, punt returners, that they want to be that. So, and then there are positions, but yeah, it is just that it is a different mindset, you know, like I asked him, because when you're playing special teams outside of, you said, being a kicker, but just, again, running downfield, making those plays. I mean, even blocking for it, everything. So it is that different mindset. I mean, you're on the kickoff team and you're just, again, running down. let me charge and ram into some people and make some tackles, because that's what players say. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be the, you know, well, before when they had the wall, but the wall buster. I mean, just, you know, boom, straight down and blow up people, or, you know, getting blocked. So yeah, it's that mindset. And he mentioned Coach Slocum, who, again, yes, was at ASU for a very long time. And Coach Slocum, absolutely awesome special teams coach, guys that, you know, brought along, developed, just always had it. So Coach Ragle, and you can hear, you know what he's saying. He's got some shoes to fill there, but he'll do it his way. And it'll be very very awesome. So yeah, we're gonna I'm gonna step aside again real quick. And on the other side, though, now we're gonna hear from interim. Well, he was an interim head coach. Sean Aguano took over when Herm Edwards was let go. And the running backs coach, but to keep him on this staff, man, again, it just meant a ton. And we'll hear it from Coach. So again, step aside real quick. Don't go anywhere here on Sideline Sports Pac-12 Preview. Yes, I am Michael Caratanito at Diablo00 on Twitter. Hit me up. Again, conversations, everything. As we get into, we're well into hoop season, men's and women's on that side. And man, I don't know if we might get to it. Working on maybe a surprise guest too. So we'll see what happens. But we'll step aside real quick. Sean Aguano coming up next here on Pac-12 Preview. All right. So obviously Coach Dillingham. All right. So obviously Coach Dillingham, and I said to you all season long, nobody takes over interim because you're winning. It's a tough spot to be in, but to be retained by Coach Dillingham, obviously the respect and the work he knows you put in, but the knowledge of the game you have. I mean, what's it meant to you? What's it been like?
No, it's been huge. Our relationship going back. Now, having that experience, and Coach Charlie and Coach Bo having that experience as head coaches, will be able to help him. And now I'm re-energized, and now I got 6 guys in my room instead of 115 to take care of. But it was a great experience, and I loved every second of it.
So, I mean, you were obviously recruiting while you were here, and I was saying to Coach Dillingham and even Coach Ragle, the other coaches, I mean, I know it's the old adage, you got to hit the ground running when a new staff comes in. They literally had to you guys had to hit the ground sprinting.
Absolutely.
And you kind of helped them with that because you were there, saw obviously who's still here, who didn't go in the transfer portal. But working with them like that and the recruits seeing you're going to be here, how big do you think that was for yesterday and the guys that signed?
I think it was just re-energizing and then going over the board and what we have and what deficiencies we have and just being a part of that. And then getting with these guys and re-energizing, get back on the road. Like you said, it was a sprint. And so we all played a huge part in it. And now it's time for a little break. But I thought miracles happened within those 10 days of how many people that we've got in.
And I mean, we've talked about the transfer portal before, and I know Coach Dillingham didn't say, and he said to me that it's not about re-recruiting players, because I know I've heard coaches say, like, you got to, re-recruit the guys that are going to be here. He's like, I want to bring in people that want to be here. Mm-hmm. So if you're showing them you care, you're doing everything, you don't really have to re-recruit them. But with the portal, how much has that changed recruiting just in general when you guys are going about bringing in players because maybe somebody all of a sudden decides to transfer?
Yeah. And I think Coach Dillingham hit it on the nail. I think that you have to recruit guys that love football and that want to be here. And so you don't have to go and maintain the whole time. Now, there's always a time that you're going to have to love up your kids. But that loving up and building that relationships from the beginning has to count every single day. And so there's not a chance that they want to leave. Some people leave because they're homesick. The reason why they want to come back home to Arizona, right? But you have to build those relationships. The transfer portal is here to stay, and that's the way people flip their rosters nowadays. It's a new world, but you have to build those relationships with people that love football and want to be Sun Devils. And I totally agree with Coach Dillingham.
Well, and the success you've obviously had with running backs. I mean, we see Rashad's done. Obviously, what X did this past season. And I know recruiting's never easy. I've kidded around with you about it, but the success you've had with the running backs, I mean, when you're out there talking to other running backs,
is it you kind of seeing a little more like they're kind of maybe like ears perked up like when you're coming in because they've seen obviously what you've done?
Yeah, I think so because their goal is to get to the NFL, and they've seen the transformation from Eno to Rashad to X, right? And those guys loved football, and so it's a two-way street because those recruits that I go after have to be mature, professional, love football, and then have the God-given ability to play football. If there's any extras in regards to social media, they're prima donnas or whatever it is, then they're not a good fit for me in my room. And so I want to make sure competition in my room is fierce, but at the same time, they're mature guys that I get along with, that I can coach hard and then guide them through. But they have to go and get it themselves. And so those are the conversations we have. I'm never a screamer or a yeller, but hopefully guiding these guys in the right directions so that they can be the best version of themselves.
And then when you look at offensively, what the offense could be this year and the guys that have come in, what are your kind of overall thoughts like working with coach? I mean, I know, again, finish recruiting, but just your kind of thoughts on the offense, because people see the numbers and it's, pass, but there's still a lot of running.
Absolutely.
Especially in the Pac. I mean, you saw the numbers last year in the Pac-12. I mean, four teams averaging over almost 280 yards rushing.
Absolutely. And, it's an offense that is explosive, not only in the pass, but in the run, because it's so spread out. I think we all have that same philosophy, Coach. If you watch the last couple games and spreading those guys and tempoing, I think myself, Coach Dillingham, Coach Bull, a lot of our guys, all of our offensive staff want that kind of offense, and I think our guys are built for that kind of offense. So I'm excited for the running backs because they're going to be able to make people miss in space. They're tough running backs, but I'm excited for Tevin to see what he's going to do, and then the other guys to see what from a competition standpoint what they bring to that room.
And as you go into, obviously break coming up, but then as you get into spring ball, you're here, but with the new staff, what kind of challenges does that bring for spring ball? Do you have to slow things down a little bit? Obviously, install. I'm not you're trying to brush through it, but like slow things down install wise, just so they're getting it, they're seeing it. Yeah. What challenges is?
The challenge is, all the terminology in the new system. So the coaches are learning the system the same with the kids, right? And so that's the hard part. Once that system is set, then it's easier for guys later on the next year. But as well, as much as it's been a sprint for recruiting, it's going to be a sprint for spring ball because we have to learn the terminologies, what Coach Bull wants, what Coach Kenny wants, and then teach our kids and be effective in doing that. And so it's going to be all hands on deck, ready to go.
When you look at, obviously, the landscape, even of the Pac-12 with, USC, UCLA leaving, obviously Colorado hiring Deion Sanders, but with the new staff, and except for Colorado, and Stanford as well, but a lot of the staff's the same. Do you feel that in preparation it gives you a little bit of a jump on getting ready for teams when they're getting ready for you, maybe kind of a little hesitation?
Yeah, because it's all new for them, right? And we've kind of, Coach Kenny has called offense against most of the Pac-12. Coach Ward has called the defense against Pac-12s. I've been in that Pac-12 mode. Coach Ragle has been in that Pac-12. So we understand the landscape of the Pac-12. I'm just excited to go about and see how we attack these teams.
And then, the energy, no one ever doubted your energy, obviously, when you took over as head coach. But Coach Dillingham comes in. Is it pretty tough to match his energy?
Oh, that's young. That's young energy. That's young energy, and it's great energy. And it re-energized us as well, because that was a difficult time too. Being the interim coach and trying to keep those guys together. But I thought we did a good job keeping those guys together. But that energy, he has a lot of energy, and so trying to match. I don't know if we can match it. We're all trying to get together to match it, but it's great energy, and I think he's going to do a great job.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it, man.
Have a good.
And that is Sean Aguano again. Like I said, obviously, right before the holidays, that got pushed back. Coach Dillingham, like I said, wanted to do it, and his coach is available to the media. A little bit different than up at Oregon, but Oregon had some different things a while back. So when he was at Oregon, he just again knows that things have to be fair and balanced, as he said. But it can be a very good budding relationship, and again, to have access to coaches like that. Like I said, we'll have more of the coaches. I'll have more of the coaches, and I put it out there, and we'll see if possibly before spring ball to get some of the new coaches, all the new coaches actually, Stanford, Colorado as well, and then but put out there to maybe get get all the other coaches before head coaches, at least before spring ball. Being here, obviously in Phoenix, covering ASU as a part of this, it was very cool to get into that. But, and again, like I said, Coach Dillingham wanted to do it, setting it up, and then Jeremy Hawks, obviously the other football SIDs over at ASU. I am very thank you for setting that up. So, but yeah, you heard it from Coach Aguano. I mean, it's tough because a lot of coaches come in and you hear they want to clean house, right? Well, why do they want to clean house? Because if there was obviously the head coach isn't going to be retained because he was fired by the university team, whatever level it is. But to take over as the interim and do the job he did, and like he said, 115 souls that he was there, and he would go over. He started calling the offense, and by the way, Zach Hill, Zach Hill, actually former ASU coach, took over Coach Mons's position as the head coach at Saguaro High School. Just had to get that out there real quick. But yeah, for Coach Aguano, again, if you know the man, like you hear it, he always has the passion, and it is family. They had the shirts made, the Ohana, the family, and like I said, starting the Sunday tradition, it'll be interesting to see if next season, again, maybe that's something Coach Dillingham, and it doesn't have to, obviously. It's one of those things that was kind of Coach Aguano's stamp, but like the Sunday get together, the dinners, which again, no football, was the families. It was, again, being together, developing even more of a bond as a team, as a unit. And like I said, so great to see him still on the staff, and again, working with the running backs, because I mean, Valade, again, yes, the talent was there, and he transferred in from Wyoming last year, but the numbers he put up and just how he played, and then Rashard White, how he started, and it's to where he went, and guys, and even Eno Benjamin, as Coach Aguano came over, and Eno Benjamin was there, but just working with him and what he got out of him, and showing the other running backs, like, this is what you need to do. And it's huge, and but again, his energy, in recruiting, he brings that, and it did help a lot. And that's not, and like Coach Ragle said, he's a great coach. He's even a better person. And Coach Dillingham echoed the same things when I talked to him as well. But having that at least base with recruiting, who they're bringing in, and interested in, again, they needed to fill a lot, and they hit it out of the park. They got a few from the transfer portal, and high school kids that they signed to, that they were able to bring in. I mean, again, it was magician's work, and Sean Aguano, did that. So yeah, again, step aside real quick, and maybe have a surprise guest on the other side coming up. We'll see. But yeah, we're going to step aside real quick here on Pac-12 Preview. But yeah, happy to see Coach Aguano. Love to see Coach Ragle back here, and just excited for Coach Dillingham. And yes, it needs to transfer to wins. Everybody knows that. Everybody wants to win this very second. Build it up right. Oregon State is what I'm going to say, kids. Oregon State. But we'll step aside, be back here on Pac-12 Preview here on Sideline Sports right after this. See, I deliver on stuff. That was, again, Coach Ragle, Coach Aguano. Like I said, we'll have more from ASU coaches, aiming to get Coach DeBoer on from Washington after his first season. Coach Lanning from Oregon, from what I understand, might be tough, but we'll see what we can do here on a Pac-12 preview. And and obviously the ASU coaches love to get out to get Coach Whittingham in Utah, and even, Coach Riley, USC, Chip Kelly. I've talked to him before. Not that I'm name dropping, not that he'll remember me, but not that he'd forget me. Speaking of never forgetting me, I said I'd have a surprise guest, and yeah, look at this, man. We're going to be headed out to the National Scouting Combine. I've been talking about it on the show, and the man I compliment a lot for his artistry and obviously helping me with this. I'll never compliment him on his football team. Well, his pro football team, his college football team. He knows I have nothing but respect for. The man, the myth, the legend, Eric Wilson. I have respect for Penn State because they are Penn State. So as he
You're welcome.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
I know.
Sean Lee, Michael Parsons, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Sean Lee, look, and I said this to you, and we had a talk in Florida. You remember last year, and we were in the car, and I said, it's an injury thing, especially at any other position than quarterback. And quarterback is 2 and away, but Sean Lee doesn't have like 3 years of consistent injuries. His first 4 years, the trajectory he was on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying first ballot, but you and I, and again, not even the Penn State thing. That guy was a Hall of Famer. I mean,
there's no question about it. It pains me that he goes to out of the 32 teams in the NFL, he has to go there. I mean, but listen, same thing with Michael Parsons. Really, this is what you're gonna do? But anyhow, that's what it is, man. But I appreciate you having me on, man. It's my first time on the Pac-12 review, man. I'm like. I don't know what to think. Normally,
well, I'm finally going to get to drag you out here to the left coast, even though me, my heart's back in Jersey and the East Coast, even though I've been out here all these years. But yeah, no, I mean, I've been talking about the National Scouting Combine. I was dropping it to the ASU coaches when I was talking to them, saying, we're headed out there and stuff like that. But I tell everybody, I go, he didn't start it, obviously. You'll give credit to who did, but he's kind of the godfather of covering it because, man. For what, at least 5. This will be what, your 5th year or 6th year?
6 years. So it's really funny, Mike.
Me, everybody, real quick for 5 years, you got to come out. You got to come out. I'm like, okay, I'll come out. Last year, it almost happened. This year, I was like, man. But last year, 2 years ago, I was close. Last year, it almost happened. This year, he's like, we're going out and we're doing it. So tell everybody what it's about.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, the National Scouting Combine is something that, honest to God, it's one of those things where if you're a college athlete, whether you're a draft eligible, whether you're a free agent, man, I got people blowing up my phone already, man. This is crazy. Just talking about stuff. And the National Scouting Combine, what it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for any college athlete, any draft eligible, any free agent who wants to come out, get their numbers, get tested, and just have that opportunity to show up and show out, but be seen by more than just the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I get it. Everybody's goal in life is to get to the NFL. If you are a college athlete, that's what you do. However, there's the CFL, the XFL, the Indoor Arena Football League. There's USA Rugby. Hell, there's WWE. There are so many different avenues and opportunities that you have to take the opportunity when it presents itself. And so that's what the National Scouting Combine does. We start on Sunday night, just meeting everybody, talking to everybody, doing interviews. And then Monday, it's go time. It's the live stream. We are live streaming this event. Honest to God, my right hand to God, this is what I say this, and I mean this from every breath of my body. If you don't go to the NFL Combine, you damn sure better get to the National Scouting Combine, because it's the same thing. It's just more opportunity. So, I'm excited to see you. I'm excited to see Megan, the big guard. I know JB's coming out there. There's going to be a ton of people out there who are going to give these young men and women an opportunity. And I use that word a lot because that's exactly what it is. It's their chance. Walk through the door. The door is open. Get yourself to Indiana. Get yourself to the Grand Parks Event Center where the Colts training happens, their facility happens. Show up, do your thing, because you just don't know. Last year, we had guys get signed like the same day. They came, they tested, people were talking to them. We had people signed. We had a guy from 2 years ago. He's now playing in the XFL. Shout out to the offensive lineman, Shane Carpenter, man. But what Jimmy and Scott and Derek and Uncle Jay and Chad and everybody does, I'm blessed to be a part of it. I'm blessed to be able to bring the crew out there and do what we do, because that's the whole thing. We're not being asked to hold a clipboard or a stopwatch or anything like that. We are going out there to live stream. We are going out there to do what we do.
And you said, because I know it's NFL, obviously college football, guys that played football eccentric, like you said, whether they finish up their careers this year in their training, or like you said, they're kind of trying to still stay in it, which is good because it's a great avenue. Because obviously after you leave college, you can't get an invite to the combine, but the NFL combine. But you said for female athletes too.
Yeah.
So like you said, there's a bunch of different. It's not just NFL. I mean, I'm still waiting for the first woman kicker, because there's some kickers. I know Carly Lloyd went and kicked for the Giants after the U.S. women came off their last World Cup or their last gold medal, but she was out there kicking for the Giants or the Jets. And granted, there was no rush, but Eric, she hit 3 from 55.
Hey, sign her up. I don't understand what the weight is.
Right. No, but yeah, I mean, just was that something that Jimmy and, like you said, the guys were looking for too, obviously, to give female athletes that, again, the NWSL. I mean, I know softball is a thing. Obviously, basketball wise, a lot of them it's a niche, but like overseas, a lot of them play, as we know, overseas. But what was kind of their thought behind encouraging getting these female athletes out there?
So when Jimmy first did this about 12, 13 years ago, he had invited females. However, the response wasn't as great. So he was like, you know what? We live in a time where this is not the National Scouting Combine for men. This is not the National Scouting This is the national, everybody. Right. Everybody has the opportunity. There are leagues out there where females are playing football and playing at a very physical, hard-paced level. So, why not come out, put up your numbers, showcase who you are, get a little media exposure, and just build your individual brand. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where when he decided to do it, I jumped on because, I mean, listen, you already know my affinity and my love for the WNBA. You know my affinity for college women's basketball. So, I mean, this was just another thing that I was like, yeah, let's make it happen. Let's do it.
Yeah, and that's awesome. So wow, you and me, we could be like, we should do some workouts. I mean, I haven't been training up to that level, but for the WWE, because we could have the Cowboys Eagles grudge match, and then when the star pins the eagle,
all right, stop it. Just stop it. See, stop it. Don't even let's find out. Let's find out on Monday who is still playing and who is sitting on the couch. Okay?
You know what? Exactly. I'm with it. I was listening to you. I am a proud friend. I always tell everybody weekly updates here on Pac-12 preview and review, but I tell them like weekly updates, but I didn't get to this yet because I don't know if you were going to be able to come on with your insane schedule. But the other night, I was a proud friend because unfortunately, out of work, but I was listening to the show, and Eric Wilson had to compliment the Cowboys defense and not just Micah Parsons. So I put in the in the comments. I don't know if you saw him, that I was the proudest friend, and I almost had a tear in my eye because he's evolved to a Cowboys fan.
I am not. No, that will never happen, Mike.
Never
Just
happen.
to show you, look, it's Friday. I'm in game mode already. Okay.
You know, and Big Guard always comes after me. Like I have not been running my mouth, Eric. We've been friends a long time. I didn't run my mouth last week. Everybody says you didn't. Everybody else is saying I didn't run my mouth last week. I just listened to all the junk. I haven't run my mouth to Big Guard. And it's not because I think Cowboys. I think they can definitely win the game. They win the game. Big Guard's going to be we ain't going to be able to have Big Guard on camera all week because he's just going to be crying with excuses. But hey, it's a Pac-12 thing. You know, I was rooting for. I mean, look, I'm torn because Brandon Ayuk, forks up, baby, for the Niners, and I was right. I mean, draft day, Kyle, they traded down, and they still ended up getting Brandon Ayuk. I said he is the perfect complementary receiver, which could, depending who was there, turn into a number one with his speed and route running. So I got one draft pick right that year. But I mean, and Rashad White, man, forks up too, man. But he had to be on the losing side if he was on Tampa last week. So that pained me.
Hey, I'll give you a compliment right now. Shameless plug for the Sports Arena. We do our weekly picks. So when I went back and I looked at all of the picks that we did, our preseason predictions, I have to admit, Michael Carritenuto, Pac-12 Review, Sports Arena, the whole Sideline Sports Network, Michael Carritenuto had the most percentage right out of all of us when it came to predicting how a team would finish. So congrats to you, my brother.
Wow. I mean, that's, it's off on some. And I knew, obviously, God rest his soul, our beautiful friend. I knew to give the Browns a few more wins than Alex would have done, as we know, the most irrelevant. Hey, I was just happy. You know what? Inside, though, Eric, I was always happy Alex was saying the Browns are the most irrelevant team because then he wasn't picking on the Cowboys because I figured that was coming next.
Man, he saved that just for me. My brother, man, much love. Thank you so much. I do have to go. But, yes, thank you so much for having me on Pac-12 Review. Again, I'll see you Sunday, bro.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for you at the airport, buddy, because you said you get in at noon. I get in about 50 minutes before you.
No, I looked at my flight. I'll actually be there right around the same time you get in. I usually get in. I probably get in around 9:15.
Oh, okay, because I get in at like 10:30.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work, bro.
All right. That's it.
I'll holler at you, bro. Much love. Pac-12 Review. I'll see you on Sunday.
Oh, that is Eric Wilson. Love it. Love it. Like he said, Sports Arena, Mondays and Wednesdays, we hit it up. We chop it up. The whole Sideline Sports Network, like I say, yeah, we're going to be out there, National Scouting Combine. I've been talking about it for quite a few weeks, but you got more of the details from Eric. And again, it's a testing, and everybody's out there. We'll be bringing you interviews, streaming the whole thing for you. So again, check it out on Sideline Sports. Some people that are looking for some talent, if they can't be in Indianapolis, understandable, but they'll have an avenue to see it. So again, check it out. I want to thank Eric Wilson again. I want to thank, obviously, Coach Ragle, Coach Aguano for the time. Again, it was allotted for winter break as, spring semester started now. Students back on campus. And, again, sick game last night. UCLA, again, they pulled away in the end. Hey, man, hats off to the Bruins. Little sour taste in the mouth, but, man, it was a heavyweight fight. If you were on, again, Eric's Coast on the East Coast and you didn't get to see it, man, go back and watch a replay. You can find it. And it was awesome because just both teams going back and forth. So, yeah, we'll be in Indianapolis and starting again. Well, Sunday, be there Sunday, but Monday, again, everything's going to be streaming up and going as we head to Indianapolis for the National Scouting Combine. So, again, I want to thank everybody for checking this out. So no shows next. No show. I won't have a show Monday or Friday next week. So I'll be back a week from Monday will be the next Pac-12 preview show. And yeah, we'll see you and save some of the interviews. And again, I've seen some of the lists and I'm looking down there could be some, if there are Pac-12 athletes at the National Scouting Combine, yes, I will get them an interview and have that. So, but yeah, so no show next Monday or Friday. We'll be streaming everything live. So, I'm sure We'll probably do the sports arena at night, but things will be done. So nonetheless, we're out of here. So thanks for checking it out. Yes, I will see you. Well, we'll see you from the National Scouting Combine next week. And I will see you a week from Monday again with Pac-12 Preview, and we will go from there. So again, for Eric Wilson for joining me too, obviously head coach or assistant head coach Charlie Ragle, running backs coach Sean Aguano. Again, great friends of the program, guys. Again, very again, I love them, man. Very dear to me. And again, especially as a young broadcaster, we're always very patient and welcoming, to say the least. And always very welcoming. But man, just knowledge from those two is absolutely awesome. So going to get out of here, everybody. Again, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the divisional round of football. Enjoy some college hoops. And I will see you next week from the Combine, and in 2 Mondays from right back here. So as I always say before we get out of here, again, have a great week. But absolutely, you see Sparky right there. Forks up. See you next week.